The Trump administration put a former MTV Real World cast member in charge of the transportation department, and that should scare every American. Donald Trump has decided that Sean Duffy is doing such a good job as transportation secretary that he also wants him to run NASA at the same time. I used to be an astronaut. I spent 7 months of my life in space. And if I were still in the space program, this guy would be my boss.
She touched my chest, she grabbed my microphone out of my pocket. It was hot.
You'd think by now that they'd understand just how challenging it is being transportation secretary. If you remember, Sean Duffy had only been on the job for a few days when the worst commercial aviation accident in decades happened in Washington, D.C. at the Reagan National Airport. And does this look like a guy who's spending every waking moment focusing on his massively complicated job to get up to speed on things he doesn't know?
Can you tell this committee how many air traffic controllers have left the FAA since January 20th? Of 2025.
I don't.
And please don't tell me you don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know that. But what I can tell you is that
this is such an important job.
It's old news that Donald Trump doesn't pick qualified cabinet members. We know this. He casts for a reality TV show. This entire administration is staffed by people who got their jobs by going on MAGA television and performing. That's how you wind up with people like Pete Hegseth, Pam Bondi, and Kash Patel, and some of the most critical jobs in the United States. But this one really gets to me. The first reason is that it's a dangerous time for NASA itself, which is deeply important to Texas. The Trump administration is in the middle of cutting thousands of NASA scientists and engineers. Hundreds of them signed a letter this week that went to Duffy, warning that this kind of slashing and burning could threaten safety, weaken national security, and undermine NASA's mission. A hollowed-out NASA is terrible for everyone who works there, including those at the Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. But the second reason this bugs me comes down to one of my motivations for running for Senate. NASA is maybe the best example of the absolutely incredible things we can do as Americans when we do them together. America didn't put a man on the moon by thinking small. We didn't map the human genome. We didn't invent computers or the airplane because of leaders who made us feel small. But that is exactly what MAGA is doing to our collective imagination. We won't do the next great thing if we're okay with people like Sean Duffy being in charge. This is not the kind of leader you hire for the job when you're literally reaching for the stars. Texans deserve better. They deserve leaders who think big in ways that really matter for us and our families. And that starts with thinking big enough to win this Senate race and break the MAGA stranglehold that's holding our state back. And there's room on my team for anyone in Texas who's ready to start reaching for the stars.